appropriation from the consolidated fund, which meant that they had to submit their budgets to the Ministry of Finance for scrutiny. They have to appear at the Ministry of Finance to defend their budgets, and their budgets were treated as part of every other budget and go through the same procedures as the other budget, which is that we will look and see what resources we have and so on, and we will begin to cut budgets appropriately to fit the resources that we have. And if during the year those resources that we planned did not materialize, then everybody will suffer cut anyhow. So having said that, what has changed? What has changed is that constitutional agencies are no longer deemed to be budget agencies, so we don't see them among the budget agencies that are in the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act. Two, the budgets are no longer submitted to the Ministry of Finance. So that's an important departure. They are no longer submitted to the Ministry of Finance. They do not have to consult the Ministry of Finance when putting together their budget. All they are required to do, hopefully, is follow the circular, because they are bound by the budget circular. All right? So, but this is important. They no longer have to consult with the Ministry of Finance in putting together their budget. Having put together their budgets, all they're required to do is submit a copy to the Speaker and a copy to the Minister of Finance. Okay? The Speaker will make their copy available to the National Assembly in due course, as he has done so far. The Minister of Finance is required under the law to make recommendations based on what was being submitted to him and give his reasons for the recommendations. Okay? That's the limit of the law. The Minister of Finance is only required to make a recommendation to the National Assembly and give the reason for that recommendation that he will make. Okay? What else would have changed? Once the National Assembly passes a budget for a constitutional agency, that budget cannot be altered during the year by the Minister of Finance. It can only be altered by the National Assembly. So whereas I can alter budgets for the other agencies outside of the constitutional agency, I could not alter the budgets of the constitutional agency. Secondly, once the budget of the constitutional agency has been passed by the National Assembly, it's appropriated within 28 days of that passage, of the bill having been signed into law. So can you imagine if the budget of, say, the GCOM is $6 billion, immediately in January, late January or thereabout, all $6 billion have to be released to GCOM. That's what the law says. All $6 billion have to be released to GCOM. So even if you got a revenue disaster in, say, June, they would have spent as they saw fit. Whereas other agencies would have been restricted to cash flows that they would have sent us. Okay? So they get a lump sum budget that they can spend as they see fit. The reporting arrangements remain the same in that they have to report to us on a monthly basis about spending and their projections for the next month and so on. And all the auditing and accounting requirements remain the same. So the constitutional agencies have absolute freedom except when it comes to the determination of how much resources is available. The Constitution gives the power of that to the Minister of Finance, not the constitutional agency. So like every other agency, a constitutional agency has to put up a budget. Almost always these budgets are wish lists. When you look at some of the budgets, and you know the circumstances of Guyana with its absence of critical skills, the absence of critical resources, and rain, and so on and so on and so forth. If you were to put together a decent procurement plan, many of the projects that they claim that they would like to do will never get done. Will never get done, given all of those circumstances. Even if you had all the money to give everybody their budget, the budget, when you go through them, you will realize, given the circumstances, given what we know about procurement delays, given what we know about the capacity in the private sector and all these things, you will know many of these budgets will not get done. You just have to look at a non-constitutional agency to recognize that this is what I'm saying is true. And you know to yourself some of the difficulties you have in executing projects. But the reality is they are way ahead of the average appropriation agency in so far as what I told you. Once their budgets get passed, it can be cut further. They get it in a lump sum within 28 days. They are free to spend it as they see fit without any recourse to the Minister of Finance or any other minister to be quite honest. So when you come today and you see me give my standard answer, it is not just a standard answer. It's an answer that says, look, you have a salary of $100,000, don't laugh, I heard some do less than that, but you got a salary of $100,000, that's all your resources that you have. You would like to spend $150,000, but unless you see where the 50 is coming from, you have to cut your budget to suit your salary of $100,000. And that is no different than when I said, get up and say, the fiscal space does not allow me to entertain budgets of the magnitude that constitutional agencies claim that they would like to spend in the upcoming year. And not only for them, every single agency. Last year, I think we had requests for a couple of billion of dollars, whereas we could only muster just about half or less than half of what was being asked for. It's no different in the constitutional agencies. Very often, some people use a trick. They ask for much more and hoping that by the time you cut, it will be more or less in line with what they wish. Well, you know, I mean, until our budgeting improves to the stage where we could see people with their procurement plans and their 5-year planning, and budgets are being drawn out of some kind of medium-term framework for the agency and so on, we will have to treat with what we have. So it's not, I don't want to answer any questions put to me. The reality is, since I don't interrogate the budgets at the budget time for constitutional agencies, and I only see it really by when they send to me, I could only use my best judgment and use what I know to be resources that will become available to pay back budgets within those limits that they have. A number of agencies this year, more agencies than in the past, have had their budgets equal to what, my recommendation equal to what they requested. That in most cases are small increases they have asked for, you know, which, well, when I go through the estimate, their estimates is warranted. But in some other cases, for me, we couldn't entertain the increases. This year is just a few of them, but a number of agencies have had their requested budget equal to what they have done. So essentially that is what I want to do, because I know, again, we're going to go through this charade of people asking questions and so on. I cannot answer questions for Supreme Court. I cannot answer questions for anybody. None of these agencies fall under me. And nobody can answer questions for them simply because in the preparation of their budget, they consult no one, but they're not obliged to consult any minister. So it's particularly difficult to ask a minister to answer on behalf of an agency for which they have had no input in the budget, so to speak. So I will be getting up every minute and say the recommendation that I'm making is based on what the resources I can garner and what we now will call the physical space available to us, essentially. So those were my opening remarks. If you have any questions, I'm prepared to entertain.
Budget day?
Budget day is next month. A date is next month. You will know soon. We just want to make certain when we announce we are there. We don't want to announce a date and have to change it, but we are target soon.
Well, sir, can I take you outside of your subject area?
You mean, Hamid said that nobody wants to ask the question. I'm so happy, you know, but I'd like people to ask me because I don't want to report it tomorrow when I get up and say, oh, the minister failed to answer question. This is like, once again, I want them to say, this has absolutely nothing to do with failing to answer questions. It's simply because I don't interrogate these budgets. You'll see a different story when the appropriation budgets come up. Each minister is required to answer for their sector and answer all the questions that are put to them once they are relevant to the estimate and consideration. But you will see no such process in constitutional agencies. I dare say we had 2 years ago suggested that constitutional agencies be done in a committee where all these examinations could take place. But the opposition stoutly refused. They said they have a right to ask questions on the floor. So, as you may see, this goes beyond merely trying to get a proper budget to the constitutional agencies and has led now into some kind of a show, essentially.
Are you saying that you have to get a whole lot, you might have to get a whole lot and say, based on the resources?
Yes, well, I've done so.
Is that a preload to the constitutional agencies that they're just going to get a small percentage?
I don't know what small percentage. I don't know what the small percentage. If you check the recommendations versus recommendations of mine versus what they requested, and there's a substantial percentage. I believe 90% for most of them. And most of them is what 90%. Don't forget that again, as I said, a budget is a wish list of what you would like to do. Most often in the end, it's a wish list. But saying that you don't have the resources, you have to pay back to reality. And you just got to read through what they have here and hoping that you pick what they think is what they might have suggested might be a priority for them, essentially. There's no sense that you're going to fill 50 vacancies when these vacancies are of high caliber, and by the time you get around to advertising and so on, you have none. Then you will be tying up resources that is required for other people. You often hear, oh, you cut your general. There's no such thing as cutting. Cutting is after the budget would have been approved, not before. There's no such thing as cutting a recommendation. I will cut your budget after it would have been approved, and you will set your programs, and then I come again and say after cutting. That is cutting, but it had been approved. But you can put up a budget of $10 billion. Nobody's stopping you. When they bring it back down to 100 million, do you call that cutting?
Minister, could you say, sir, I have clarification, and I have a top question, so to speak. How much do you project Guyana will earn annually from all the proceeds? I'm hearing different figures.
No,
from Lisa 1 alone.
Lisa 1, a full year will be roughly about 300 million US.
That is on profit oil alone?
Together.
Together with profit and cost.
Yeah. Well, what is the formula right now? We get 50% plus a royalty. Right. So it'll be about 300 from Lisa 1 for full year, somewhere around there.
Coming into the corporate.
Coming into the coffers.
Okay.
Gross?
Gross?
What you mean by gross?
Well, I thought.
I'm saying what coming into the coffers. We don't want to call it gross net what. Our share will be about 300.
300 million.
So the 300 million annually. For Lisa 1, when it ramps up to 120,000, I forget what is the assumption of the oil price. But I know it's around 300. Probably will be a bit more, I don't know, $70 a barrel about now. So, but I would say for argument's sake around 300 million US. In a full year at 120.
At $50 a barrel.
I can't remember what the assumed price is somewhere around, like maybe slightly above.
And what that means for Guyana in terms of our economy. I mean, I'm asking that
Well,
because I
no.
often hear people say you can go and get a grant, you can get a soft loan. What that really means for us as a country.
Well, what's about it means that $300 million more comes into your coffers.
Mhm.
That's let me see, that's around about $60 billion dollars. I might have added or subtracted or not, but it's quite a sum. Now remember, when this money comes, it goes into the natural resource fund or our sovereign wealth fund. Okay? So it is not available to the government yet. It will become available, some of it will become available based on the legislation when it's passed. And when that legislation is operationalized, then there are rules of withdrawal from the fund. So at no time will 300 million be available to the government to spend. Okay? And the way how the 300 million becomes offline, so it's offline and it will go offline, so it doesn't create disturbances to the economy. So much money flooding the economy. Few goods around, large imports is suddenly attract and so on. So a lot of noise have been made about the NRF, so the legislation is tight in terms of how we could withdraw money and what for what purposes and so on.
Given where we are though with our current state of foreign exchange in the corporate, in the system,
Yes.
does it really mean, in light of the fact we're saying money has to go to NRF and all of the rules, will we still be in a tight fiscal position?
No, remember from the fiscal rule, we have three purposes for which, three objectives for the fund. One is for intergenerational savings, one for stabilization, and one for economic development. The part to do with economic development will be withdrawn and put into the consult fund. So let us, for argument's sake, say out of 300, just for argument, and I'm just trying to give you. Let's not use this fund because maybe somebody will say I said this. So let us say you had a fund, not ours. You had a fund, okay, that had in $300 in it, okay, and it had different rules. And one of the rules says the government can withdraw up to 50% of it for purposes, for economic development purposes. So 50% that is $150. That $150 will be withdrawn and put into your consolidated fund. Now that $150, remember, is in foreign currency. So that foreign currency will go to Bank of Ghana, and that will increase the reserves of Bank of Ghana. Bank of Ghana will then give us the equivalent in Ghana dollars, and that will be deposited in the consult fund. And now you do your spending.
Do you foresee, say next year when you have gotten some money